Today we're going to be checking out a very special treat. It's a special movie called Minions Paradise, the game. Created by Adam Sandler, Disney Pixar, and Steve Jobs to make a movie. This character is Bob, the Minions right there, and he's got very different hairs, and even though the load times are long, it's still good and fun to play it. And because it's still in green light early open access, sometimes you have to destroy it and go back out and make it boot up again. But that's actually part of the game. In order to do it. So let's try that again. There we go. As you can see, it's got all of your favorites. It's got Bob the Minion, Stuart the Minion, and Clancy. And it's available for you to play for fun.
Hello.
That's let me maximize my minion. Don't minimize him, right? It's not called it's not called minion minimizing. It's called it's called minions. And I don't want to cover up any of the Gru art that they shipped in from DreamWorks. I think we missed the opening cutscene from the glitches, but we're still working on it. So I'd like to see you make a perfect video game and not have any screw-ups or mess-ups, and then you can talk. And you will notice that it's got full 3D 1080p graphics in HD of yours to check out. It's a tiki lounge. Hope you can make a decent smoothie. Hope I leveled up. That's free minion. And you get a free coin every time you do that. A few of Phil's buddies. Oh, some of my favorites. There's Hare and Frank and Sandy the Minion, and they've got different coconuts of theirs to check out for you to have. We're gonna need extra coconuts, but luckily I'm just gonna tap on that. Have one coconut. Have one coconut. Have one. There we go. And sometimes it takes a couple of taps, but that's part of the. Again, it would be too easy if it was just a one-tap situation. So you could definitely see how the gameplay could make you do different taps later on. Now, focus that your buddies are in a better mood. Ask them for creating a better minion. It's paradise. Now we gotta go get Coconut Grove. That makes three minions. Now you can cash in your doubloons to get him, but sometimes he falls down, and you do use more doubloons to get minions. But you can just pay 2 doubloons, and then you can get coconuts for your minions to enjoy, because it's just minions, and they love to say banana, but they also like coconuts too as well for you to have. Sweet Jaspers. At this rate, you'll have a bunch of coconuts to store them, and so you're going to click on... I like to zoom in on Phil here, the minion. Now, he likes to roll his eye, but that's part of the... that's actually part of the game. And if you notice, you can zoom all the way out to see the whole volcano here. If you zoom in, sometimes you'll see a camera on the side of it, which is a fun little Easter egg. People remember in Despicable Me 2, Gru definitely had a camera in his lab, and they've brought that to the game, and it's the little touches like that that make it the #1 Minions experience for iOS, or also they have it on Droid for you to get. Now the bridge, we'll get to that later, but the coconut situation is what we gotta get on top of here. So, let's... hold on, I gotta poke it or something. Then you build a house. And that's how you build a house. So you, check on... I have 0 out of 6 huts. As you can see, right there, I have 0 out of 60 huts. And so you just hit buy and then sell, and that is one good way that I like to use to increase my huts. Coconuts and a star. Coconuts and a star. You know, he likes to... You can zoom in or zoom out. It's as simple as do a pinch to zoom, and you'll notice that it's actually very low latency on that, which is a seamless minion experience for you to enjoy. So let's see what Phil's up to now. Phil have 1 coconut, so you get 8 star and $10. He's gonna use his binoculars to look around to get one to bloom, and clouds also as well. So you can see Stuart. It'll take him a little while to swim, so you should prepare. Speaking of Stuart, I actually have a friend of mine. Let me get him, who is gonna be providing, we've got special guests and minions. So I'll go ahead and get that rolling in the background here, and more on the way when you need a welcome basket. So hold on, I lost my minions. But that's part of the game. You can't always get what you want, and sometimes you need minions. And sometimes you don't get to have minions. Welcome basket. We get my to-do list for my minion, and he builds it. Look at that, he's got his own it's a bear's skin. And you can get the skin for your island. Now, you can build with more coconuts to get a house or a hut. But let's see. One of my favorite things to do from time to time is to just go around and check out all the different islands and what's happening on each one. Now, my favorite island right now is this one because there's no minions on it. And what that tells me is that there's a potential for there to be loads of minions on it later on. I unlock villain at level 20. Now you gotta look out for crocodiles and flies. Because they can get your minions. And it is funny to see when the minions get by the crocodiles and flies, but it's also bad and you run out of coins very quickly because of the flies and the crocodiles. Now, let me go back to Bob here, and you'll notice that this tree is locked, but I can get it later with enough of coins. Now I'm gonna click and check out the bulletin board. Greet Stuart with a welcome basket. It's impossible to stay mad at someone when they give you a welcome basket. So fill that order. He's got his guitar. And you'll notice that even on this menu, it's a fully rendered in 3D, like it's an HD Stuart, which is good to enjoy. Oops. Can't do that. Now I'm gonna fill Stuart's order. And you can really see the meter grow. And... Oh! I think I accidentally clicked on it. I did it wrong. Here. How did I have it? Alright, now, Stuart is bummed out because you sank the boat, and so he's doing his fist. Like he does in the movie. Oh, let's see where he is. He's over here, and he's taking the coconuts to the bar. But you'll notice that it's just coconuts, no alcohol, because they don't do alcohol in Minions movies because PG or G rated only experiences for Minions, which is part of the paperwork that they had me sign. They said just keep it G and PG. Don't say anything about any of the Minions. Just don't talk about their body parts, especially their penis, and you will get 100 coins. They were part of the deal that I worked out with Minions and Pixar, was to make sure that that I could get paid only in doubloons and Minion bucks and coins. But that's part of that's the price of doing business on it, and that's part of the game in a lot of ways. And I think that's good. I think that's good. Oh, now let me go ahead and bring in our first minion is Bob from over here. And now if you can actually click and drag him around, and you'll know if you do that it actually doesn't do anything. But if you double tap, then all three of them line up in a row, and it's extremely cute, just like on the poster for Minions. Which I like to see. And so and there are some pathfinding issues to work out, but remember that this is still in development, and it's not quite finished. But they're gonna make it good when they finish working on it. Now, where's the... Let's do a build. Now, we got a coconut gash swamp, but that costs 1,000 of coin, which I have. And it's one of the cool things about the game is they give you all the different coins that you need to get the different coins that there are. But in a lot of ways, and it's good. I'm gonna now hold on. I need to hit build and zoom out. I think I'm about ready to bring in my very first special guest here. You might know him as... Let me go ahead and fire it off on social. My first guest is Minions from Minions. So I'll bring in my first guest. How do I click? Hold on, my producer is yelling at me. He says something about I can't talk about Minions for the rest of the... Look at the sheet! It says to only talk about... It says I can't say sentences that don't... I'm gonna mute the mic. It says I can't do anything that doesn't have directly to do with Minions for the rest of the... the stream. And it's not my fault if you don't understand what I signed up for. It's part of your job in the role is to make sure that I sign up for what I can do. And Bob from Minions is one of the main characters in Minions. From Minions. And let me click. And also, a good thing about sometimes you want to wait is to make sure you can go back to Phil's, who runs the Tiki Bar in Minions. Which is honestly a big part of the game. And sometimes he likes to make a mess, but it's in a funny way, not in a bad way. And without further ado, I'll bring in my first guest of from Minions. It's my friend from Minions. Oh, we got a feedback of echo on the Minions line. Hello, are you there?
Big time, I'm here. This is lead minion Pete Berkman from the rock band Anamanaguchi.
Now
as I'm known today, Pete Minion.
That's interesting. Did you? So first of all, introduce. No, you already did that. Now you're from Minions. Is that correct?
Anamanaguchi's new USA album is called USA. Brought to you by Minions, and we got Ari's here too. You want to say a good word for the Lord Minion? Hi guys.
Hey Ari.
Thank you, and bless the Lord Minion. So we have a big time deal with Minion. He is currently sponsoring our next big tour. The whole album is going to be all Minion. I can't wait. Every track is all start to finish, man.
No, that's exciting for fans of Minion. But also, I was wondering, what are some of the different ways that you're going to have Minion in there, in the songs and on the different parts of the instruments and on the drums in the album?
Well, that's a great question because honestly, we're trying a new approach, and I want to shout out all the Minions in the chat right now. I want to take that big opportunity to say shout out to all the Minions in the chat. I'm very happy to be in there with you physically.
And they do have Minions movie coming out.
And that's a big part of the album. Big part. Well, this is the thing. In order to pay for the album, which, the last album we did is a big Kickstarter push, we don't have that. We lost all the money. It's all gone. And the way that we're doing it now is we're writing songs just like we did before, but a minute into each song, we have a quick Minion break where all the Minions come out and they have a little solo, and it's just real great for the fans. And then it just goes back to the song and it plays like it should.
Interesting, and it's kind of, and I think it's a lot of people. If you look at what Red Bull is doing, and Audi, and Tide to Go are all doing special labels where you can release your music with a sponsorship, and I think that it's an interesting approach that Pixar and DreamWorks are choosing to take with the Minions commercial breaks in the middle of every song.
Pixar is huge with these Minions. And the biggest part about it is a lot of people think that we do the NES stuff, and sometimes maybe it's J-pop, but what we're really doing now, we're using all Minion samples.
Okay.
So
that's what I was.
Let me just tell you, this album might be called. You might call it 50 Shades of Yellow.
From the different Minions of the way they look.
Shades of Minion colors that you might find in your Adobe Photoshop eyedropper.
Nice. If you were to select a Minion in Photoshop as your favorite, which one would you pick from the existing cast, exclusively talking about Minions in Despicable Me 2 and the upcoming film Minions with Tom
Talking about
Cruise.
Despicable Me 2, and we're talking about Minion 1. My big pick, well, see, because it's tricky, because you got two-eyed Minion, you got one-eyed Minion. When it comes down to it, you know, I got two eyes, but I like a little bit of fantasy in my life. I'm going to pick the one-eyed Minion.
It is a sillier way to make a minion look when it only has one, because that way it's different from the way it is in real life when you have a couple of eyes.
And also for the album, for all the fans out there, it's going to save file space. You're only going to have to load one eye. You're not going to have to load two eyes. So
you can get it over your 4G or your carrier provider. I don't know how that works internationally.
Even if you have Verizon LTE, you're still going to get the Minions.
Because you only have to download half as much.
That's right. I have all these friends here, and they don't fucking like this stuff. Can I say that?
No. You can swear, but you cannot acknowledge that people don't like the franchise.
Well, in that case, everyone around me likes the Minions. Everyone around me is very supportive of this decision. The management loves the Minion move. I think it's just the right move because Kickstarter, it was cool, but you know, at a certain point you got to step up and get one eye.
Yes, and just do a one-eyed minion. And
Tell me a bit more about this game, Nick. I'm really enjoying this.
Well,
how to download this?
So the fucked up part is that you can only get it from New Zealand iTunes on the island of New Zealand because you can't. It's not ready for America. Sometimes they want to let Minions do a test run at a different island or a different place from America. So you have to create a spoof account and go to newzealanditunes.com and download Minions Paradise for iOS and Android.
Well, Nick, this is crazy because you know I'd honestly spend about $600 million on this game, and I just want it now. I want it on my screen, and it's great watching the stream of it. But
it's not available now.
One-eyed boys walking around, and I want to be one of them, and I want to go to the bar. I want to sit down, order a Minion daiquiri or a Minion virgin colada.
Thank you. All the drinks are virgin. There's no alcohol and no of rum or different of liquors in the drinks.
You know what I love how I was in the airport just yesterday, and I saw a little boy holding a Minion. I saw a little girl holding a Minion, and it seemed like they didn't really know what it was, but they were holding it, and what I liked was that it was bright and yellow, and they enjoyed it.
And yeah, it's sorry, I got to pop up here. Minions have a busy life.
I got to take care of that.
Where did you would you like to be notified of when Stuart has a party? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Not a question. Yes, please.
Push notifications. So you can get Minions on the go when you're at church or when you're at the office, when you're asleep or when you're awake. Your phone will tell you right away, Stuart's ready to have a Minions party with all of the other ones, including...
You know, I get jealous of these kids because, you know, in a couple of years they're going to be going to Minion school. They're going to have schools for this stuff, and I want to be there. I want to be teaching at Minion school. And yes, send notifications because I love Minion.
Yeah, and it's a good way to get Minions on the go as well. And so when you're at school, you can have feel that buzz in your pocket. You know you can't pull it out because the teacher said it's no Minions in class, but you get a buzz, and that tells you, in your mind that it's a special Minion treat to get.
So you got these free doubloons. What are you gonna do with those doubloons?
Well, there's an interesting. The doubloons are a form of Minion cryptocurrency that you can use to buy Minion stuff on it's called the yellow market, and it's a special part of the dark web that you can use to purchase Minion goods. I'm going to turn in 3 coconuts here.
You might want to say Minion bads because of the...
They are, yeah.
Just dealing with nefarious figures.
That's an interesting thing, and I unfortunately we're not allowed to talk about Gru because we could not get Steve Carell back for Minions, but there are some.
Carell is a piece of shit, and he deserves all the curse he's gonna get.
I hope that his grandsons and grandparents die at the same time.
Yeah,
fuck you, Steve Carell.
His groomsons.
Those as well. But I don't want anything bad to happen to Stu or Bob the Minion. There's also a new character named Clancy. I don't know if you've seen the trailers.
I have a tattoo of all the frames of the trailers all over my entire body.
So Clancy is a special minion who looks like a man.
That's exactly what I'm looking for in a minion.
He looks like a human-sized man with 2 eyes and and 1 mouth. And it's interesting because it's a twist on the old Minions formula, and I think, and tell me what you think, but it's interesting because it kind of makes you ask what counts as minions, and what doesn't, and what are minions.
I just a quick side note. What I can't believe is they got Sandra Bullock on this film.
In the movie.
So you got Sandra Bullock. I say Steve Carell, goodbye, good riddance. You're on Steve Carell's a TV actor. He's a shit actor. I want to deal with Sandra Bullock, who was in Speed, and she was in a little film I like to call The Net. And we got John Hamm, Michael Keaton. You got Steve Coogan. And when it's written by someone like Brian Lynch, known for his work on Puss in Boots, sign me up.
And it's the perfect metaphor because I think Minions really is the Puss in Boots of the Despicable Me franchise.
Yeah, it's a bit of a side quest because these minions are not main characters, but they're main characters in our hearts, much like Puss in Boots was our big man in the Big Man on Campus Shrek movie. But a lot of people don't know this, that Brian Lynch of Despicable Me and Minion is an uncredited actor in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. He's the comic book shopper #1.
I didn't know that. It's actually a fun fact.
Yeah, it's just one of the many fun facts. Here I go. I'm like, if you need to know more about and if you're watching this stream, I know you're just getting ready for midnight because
we're actually calling it midnight.
I could go over some of these goofs.
I'd love to, yeah.
Well, actually, here's a bit of trivia, because Pierre Coffin, and a lot of people don't know Pierre Coffin, but he's a blonde man. He looks not unlike a Minion.
You're talking about the director of Minions. The creator of Minions.
He's a Frenchman. He's got the Minion glasses, so he's actually the one who voices all 899 Minions in the film.
And it's funny, there are 899 in the movie, but canonically, as a Despicable Me 2, there's actually 10,500 according to the despicablemE.wikia.com, which is my homepage whenever I log in, so I can see it to learn if there are any updates. I'm an admin on the Despicable Me wiki, and if anyone vandalizes it, then you actually get your posts taken down, you get your account flagged, and then deleted and then banned. So don't.
And this is such a big treat because I've already seen the movie. I know how it ends. I know every aspect about it. So I gotta say, guys, listening in on the chat at midnight, when you watch the movie, you gotta stick around after the credits because, let's just say there's a short musical scene. I'm not gonna tell you much about it. I don't want to spoil the ending, but it might be a little teaser for what Pierre might have in store for our little friends after the film.
Let's just say fans of Minion will be pleased. As a special, also a treat, we've got the creator of Minion. Everybody knows as John Coffin, but we actually have the director of Minion, Benjamin Pack, on the line to tell us about Minion and some of the different inspirations. It's a pleasure to have you, Ben. How is?
Oh, it's so nice to be here. A lot of the time, people are kind of feeling down about the Minions, and I'm upset about that because the movie's not even out yet.
Right.
I just want to spread the word.
Well, what do you mean? I feel like I'm seeing a lot of positive buzz about Minion and the different characters that you have, including Minions. So what is your main concern in terms of what's the message you want to tell to the different people who know about Minion?
With the Despicable Me told the story of Gru, and we feel like he got the limelight, but I was there when Pierre Coffin created the Minions. I was standing next to him, and he said, Ben, I've got this. I've got it. I got a great idea. Mm-hmm. We'll have a movie called Gru, and we'll also have these Minions in it, and we'll make the movie about Gru. And I said, but I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to be rude, but I thought to myself, what if it was only about the Minions?
Yeah, and it's funny.
Can I interrupt you for a sec? Because I just want to
Sure, of
say
course.
how amazing it is that the Minions have gone through all these movies, and I feel like the audience really grew up.
Hey, say that again, right?
Yeah.
Grew. You know what I'm saying?
Looking for
Grew.
a job?
Well, you know, I'm just a big fan. You know, you could say I'm a Minion myself. I'm kind of a Minion. So, any job you have, I'd be happy to do it unpaid.
Great, because we don't
Just
have
give me
any
a-
money yet because the movie's not out. But soon.
That is true. Now, do you want to talk about some of the logic behind exclusively choosing to debut Minion on Oculus Rift?
Yeah, a lot of the big wigs at Pixar didn't really want us to do it. They wanted a more traditional IMAX only release.
Yes.
But we decided, you know, virtual reality is the future. So my favorite thing about the Minions is everyone can see themselves as a Minion. And with that in mind, it just made sense to make it only Oculus VR Rift compatible, because then you actually are the Minion.
Is that HD or 3D?
We are still working on the HD. We might get it done in time, but it's at the very least 3D.
I want to make sure we get a clip of the just show off the way the game looks when it's running on an iPod or iPhone.
The game came out great. I'm really happy with it.
I want to know what was your role like in the game, and did
I designed it, lead designer and coder.
interesting. And did you do the sounds?
I did most of the sounds. We got Pierre to still do the sounds of the Minions, but I did the sounds of the crocodiles and flies.
Interesting. Let's
And
check in
the
on
sound
those.
that the drinks make when they splash around a little.
Now, was that mostly? Did you do a mouth sounds like with your voice, or was it mostly
Yeah.
different toys that you had, or things, not
My
toys?
voice, it sounded like this. I can do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I got the crocodile here, so give me a quick crocodile's roar.
Crocodiles.
It's just like in the game.
It is.
Yeah,
And
I had a lot of fun with that.
we've got a different. What kind of sound did the flies make in the game?
Oh, uh-oh, the flies, they're kind of scared me when I was doing them, but they sounded a little bit like this. Yeah.
Nice. And you said they kind of
Scary.
they scared you while you were doing
Yeah,
them.
because they can sometimes be upset with the Minions and kind of bother them, and I don't like seeing Minions put in bad positions. 'Cause
Yeah.
I like to think of all 10,000 of them as my children.
Yes. I wanted to ask you, because we're looking at a little bit of gameplay here. Now we're looking at Phil the Minion's bar, his tiki bar, and Bob, who's the overalls minion, is at the bar. And they've got a sort of an interesting relationship, and they appear to be having a back and forth two minions that flirt situation, where they
Yeah.
can fall in love and even die at the end of the game. Can you talk a little bit about that decision?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm a strong believer that Minions should have the same basic human rights as anyone else, because they are, in fact, human. And one of those basic human rights is death. So we really wanted to make sure that you get the whole human experience of, because without the sadness, there's no happiness. You know, without the bitter, the sweet isn't as sweet.
I
Yeah.
just love how Sandra Bullock is in the movie. Can we talk about that? Can we just...
Yeah, Ben, walk us through the whole getting Sandra and how she got involved and how you are able to manage as special of a big deal actor like Sandra Bullock.
Well, me and
Because
Sandra,
she's such a star, and it's especially hard to get her this time of year.
yeah,
This time of year is the hardest time of year to get Sandra Bullock.
she's really busy with the summer. But me and Sandra go way back. You know, she was in A Time to Kill, and that was the first film I ever worked on. I was the grip of that film, and we hit it off really well. I told her about my friend Pierre, and that he had this idea for these things called Minions, and she thought it was a neat idea. And that was, you know, all the way back in 1996, but she remembered about the Minions when I came to her in the future, which is recently.
As recently as when the movie came out later. When does the movie come out?
Midnight.
That's a midnight release.
You know,
Next midnight.
I like to imagine that when the movie's getting made, there's Hollywood movie magic. And in a movie like this, you have such a big team of animators. What I like to imagine is all the animators are the Minions, and they're making the movie happen. And maybe they're drawing themselves and their little minions in the factory, just working on a movie for you to watch. And I want to see 6,000 of these movies every year to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And have you given any thought to that as to how to ramp up the number of different minion in the movies?
I feel like each individual minion, it's kind of trippy. I don't want to blow your guys' minds, but if all the minions are like little people in their world, that means there's a minion, Pierre Coffin, currently working on whatever the minion is to the minions. So maybe we're hoping that'll come out naturally. Like one of the minions will come to us with an idea for the next franchise, and we'll kind of keep working our way down that rabbit hole.
One of my favorite Easter eggs in the pre-release screening copy of Minions that we got, me and Pete got ahead of this big event, is we got to. There's, if you look in the background, there's a scene where Gru, who does not talk in the movie because Steve Carell was unavailable. I know we can't. I mean, I know that it's hard when you're making a cinematic movie because you have to do all these CGI 3D renders, sometimes 5, 10, 15 years in advance, and voice actor availability can be a problem. So there's a lot of scenes where Gru's mouth is moving and he's not saying anything, and there's a lot of dialogue that I can tell you wanted to have in there for the fans of Gru and of Despicable Me and of Despicable Me 2, Gru the movie. And but in the background there's a scene where Gru is taking all the different minions to the outside to this go to the water slide.
Real quick, we're not allowed to even really talk about that guy, so if you could just use his first name, which is Felonious GRU. Yeah.
Well, there's a scene, it's neither here nor there. There's a scene of different where all the minions will go outside, and if you look in the background, there's a movie theater, and there's a new big movie coming out called Humans. And it's easy, it's fun, and it's fun to laugh, and it's fun to joke, but I would love to remind Pete that it might be, if you think about it, more serious than maybe you think. Casablanca is a movie that Minions is about, and like.
Forget it, Minions. It's Minion Town. That's from Minion Town, a movie that the Minions kind of spoof of. They do a lot of spoofs.
They do. There's a lot
movies.
Of parodies.
Guys, I just have to bring up real quick that, Sandra Bullock won an Oscar. This movie features an Oscar winner actress, and she's there with her talent and her prowess. And it's not just to say in the trailer, it's not just to say featuring the Oscar-winning Sandra Bullock.
And if you ask me, they need to make a new type of yellow Oscars that's just for Minions, and then all the different Minions in the movie can get Best Actor, Best Camera, Best
Bartender,
Best Bartender, Best Editing, Best Filming,
Best Minion on set,
Best Boy, Best Boy,
Best Grip.
Best Grip.
I actually won the first and last Best Grip award from the Academy. But you mentioned earlier we have one Oscar-winning actress, but I'm kind of upset. Yeah,
this movie's not even out yet. That's the crazy part.
That's like the
Minion not even out yet.
I don't know when the deadline is for any of that stuff. I have a guy who handles all of that. I just make the movies, right? But like we've got John Hamm, Michael Keaton, Allison Janney, Steve Coogan. We've got all of them lined up, and that's 5 Oscars.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Did you say Don Draper and Batman? Did you say Don Draper and Batman are in this movie? That's amazing.
Yep. I know. We hit it out of the park. It was a home run, and we're expecting to make at least $1 million with this one.
And I honestly think that we're going to have to ask Mr. President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden to change the name of it from $1 million to $1 million, because this movie is going to be a box office slam.
Yep.
The Beatles are in this soundtrack.
That's right. we got all the living Beatles minus Ringo and Paul to sign up on using the Beatles soundtrack.
Now I do want to bring it back because as we did, Stu's got the blues. Stu's got the blues in the game, and we gotta help him out. Well, we gotta turn in one toasted coconut, complete, and place one weapons depot. And I think a lot of fans would say, well, weapons depot, that's very, very surprising and weird, and why the fuck, why would you put that in a Minions game? It's not really that kind of game. And I would love, because I know you worked hard on it, Ben, to explain the logic behind why would you put a Minion weapons depot in the Minions paradise? Because it's supposed to be paradise.
You know, it is paradise. You know, they say that when you point a finger, there are 10 fingers pointing back at you. But sometimes when you point a gun, there doesn't have to be 10 guns pointing back at you. When I was a young boy growing up in Alaska, I would go out with my dad out to the range, which is what we called our backyard, and we'd line up cans and just pop cans along the fence and just shoot them down. And it was a bonding experience. And I really like to think that the Minions can have that same sort of bonding experience.
Now, I am noticing...
I just think it's great game design. You know, as an outsider, I think it's great game design. I think it really streamlines the process. You know, I want to see what I unlock at level 6. That's what I want to do. I want to unlock more guns for the Minions.
Now, one question, because I know the game's not out, but I'm having a lot of trouble trying to get the Weapons Depot Island to show up in the middle of the sea.
You need to pay more coins.
Okay,
to me
I'll
directly.
go up to the coins. Now, do I want the pile of doubloons, the bag of doubloons, the barrel of doubloons, the crate of doubloons, or the chest of doubloons, or the galleon of doubloons? Which is, and also talk about it's all seafaring and it's pirates, and how did you decide that?
Yes, well, you know, when you close your eyes and you think of kind of your dream vacation, a lot of people think lying down on a beach with the Minion, and he's got a cool drink in his hand, and in the other hand, he could have a lot of things like a rose or a gun, and he can just relax on the beach. And you know what's a fun beach activity is pirate ships.
That is true. I'm having some trouble getting it to work.
Well, you want to go with the best value, which is...
Galleon?
Yeah.
Now tell me about, as well, we've also got the sand dollars. Now, it's interesting that you guys, and it's kind of a departure from most games on the iOS platform, but you chose to go with a 2-currency setup. How did you land on and what that to do 2 of it? Wouldn't it be easier if there's just 1?
Sand dollars is funny. You know, it's like normal dollars, but they're made out of sand.
I know. Imagine if you go to oh hello, I'm at the milkshake in the drink store, and I tried to give you a money for the milkshake. Oh no, you spilled the milkshake, and my dollar is dissolved because it's from sand. And isn't that a funny thing that could happen to Minions, or me? And that's part of how it makes me feel like I'm from Minions as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. What do you say to that?
I say we're all like the Minions as well.
That's an interesting point. Let me see if we have one more. I think we might have one. Let me click around and see if I can't. Whoops. Click the switch here.
I was serious about that job, Peter. If you really want to work for us for free, we will have you and make you work 80-hour weeks.
To be directed. I'm a minion to be directed. Show me where to go, and I will do the duty I must duty.
We'll start with you coloring in the Minions because there's a lot of them, and we're running out of yellow crayons.
I noticed there's a purple Minion in this movie. Is that why that is?
That was a big controversy. You know, we went the writer's room. You know, they say what happens in the writer's room stays in the writer's rooms except what they write. But this the incident kind of almost ended the whole process.
Damn.
I was a firm believer that all the Minions needed to stay yellow, but somebody said, what about a purple one? And I said, good point. I'll think about it.
Interesting.
Was that a renegade act that it made it into the movie, or was that
That
did
was
Pierre sign off on that?
Pierre did eventually sign off on him. I had to trick him and say that a child who's very sick needs this. So
Hey, can you go Skype?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm gonna do that on my phone.
All right. Well, that was our third and final guest who will be joining us on the call. So look forward to that. It's a secret surprise.
I can't wait.
When
And
I'm sick, I watch the Minions, and I feel better.
is that?
Buddy, you're preaching to the choir.
Tell me about it. When I'm gonna open a new Minion game, by the way. We've got Minions Rush here by Gameloft, which is actually available internationally. So one nice difference between that and the Minions Paradise.
You got any first-person shooter?
Hold on. We're gonna tilt to watch the Minions movie full screen. So if you could
do it.
just
Yeah, I can just
shut
send
the
you a file with the whole movie, and you can play that whole thing right now.
send me a.
About time.
I don't want to
Hello.
spoil. One sec,
Hey.
Stuart. We're watching a movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow, this is a whole thing. Can you hear that?
I
Oh,
did not
this is
direct this
amazing.
short.
This is
No.
amazing.
Did Gameloft produce this, or was this a?
John Hamm actually produced this.
This was a John Hamm video.
Yeah.
It sounds like him.
It's amazing. What's it gonna be?
This is a great example of mischievous minions.
You know, I didn't direct it, but I really appreciate it as a fan.
And it's interesting too, because it reminds you that anyone could make minions. Anyone could make the movie Minions. Let's introduce our next guest. We've got Stuart.
I'm here. Also.
Now Stuart was all hands on deck on the set of Minions.
Give him a round of applause then.
Yeah, let's do a clap for Stuart.
I basically was responsible for strapping on all the different parts of the set, the rig. I slapped them all together and made sure it was running smooth. So, that's all I can say.
Now, was how much? Because Minions is clearly it's one of a cartoon movie, but there was a lot of parts of the movie that you had to do in real life with different by touching it. And so, what was that like?
That was very strange, and I really didn't like that part.
Now, can you delineate for people who maybe don't know what did you do on the movie Minions?
I guess you could say that I was technically a type of gaffer.
Interesting. You did a lot of gaff work on Minions.
I sort of I did a lot of gaff work on Minions.
Yeah, he's being very humble right now, but he was definitely our lead gaffer.
Interesting.
I've just provided the vision for the gaffing team.
How did if you could walk us through it, Ben? How did you happen on a Stewart for his role in this movie?
Oh, you know, it kind of goes way back. The Pixar people, I came to them with the idea for Minions. They said, yes, we love it. Sign off on it. And so I said, it was like, I kind of saw myself as a Samuel L. Jackson. And I was like, I need a team of guys.
And that's not the first time you've made that comparison. I've heard you in a lot of interviews. You usually, even pre-Minions, bring up Samuel L. Jackson and your similarity to him.
I really, actually, quick side note, really wanted to make a Samuel L. Jackson Minion, but we ran out of pixels. But I said, give me the best you guys you got. And they said, well, we got this guy who crushed it on the Croods, so we can give him to you for free. Just don't, just make sure he can still work afterwards.
Hello.
And I don't think we pushed him too hard.
Yeah, do you agree, Stuart, is a good working experience?
Well, at first I said no, remember.
To working on the movie altogether.
Yes. I said the offer wasn't good enough.
To do it for free, you mean?
That's funny because I already said I'd do this for free, and to be paid by a minion, I would have to give the money back.
I felt essentially the opposite way.
Right. Stuart ended up paying us to work on the film.
And I feel like that ended up being a better arrangement.
It makes it clear
It made
where.
more sense.
I think it makes more sense in terms of it helps sort of make it clear where your intentions are, where your priorities lie in terms of you just want it to be a good Minions movie.
I want to give a quick shout out, if I made to a little website that I think is really important here. If anyone could open up a new tab, it's a website called minionme.com, and this is the kind of website that I love because it features independent people making Minion products. You can get a Minions pillow for only $130,000. You can get the calendar. You could get the flash drive for only $78,000. And of course, there's the purple one, which is only $350,000.
Which is actually, it's interesting because in terms of price, he costs more than the rest of the Minions. But if you want to buy him, it's actually
because there's only one.
Because there's
only one.
And in that regard, I think it's a better deal than many of the other Minions you can buy on the site.
Yeah, minionme.com. I want to say thank you guys so much. They are really sponsoring a lot of my activities these days. They're kind of keeping me afloat, kind of making sure I have a roof over my head. So,
and I'm logged onto the site here, and one of my favorite things about this site is it's a nice touch that they make it so the whole site is in Minion language and.
Banana.
Exactly. Yeah, and sometimes they'll say a word from another language, like a Spanish, or from China, which is extremely funny to me, because I don't understand what the hell I don't understand what they're saying. Tell us a bit, Ben, about developing Minionese, and why did you decide to make it so racist or so developed from other language?
Well, a lot of people so you sit down and you think to yourself, I want to create a fake language. Sure, it's easy. There's lots of them. Klingon, Pig Latin, Spanish, but it's really hard to actually do it from scratch. You have to kind of have a dictionary, right? You have to shape it like a real language. There's root words, there's, borrowed tongues, and when push came to shove, I just walked out to the corner, and there was a sushi restaurant, and I asked the guy. I said, "Give me your best Chinese words, brother, because I want."
That's where that came from.
A good language, and he said, "As long as you'll pay me, I'll do whatever."
And that's where a lot of the budget of the movie went. Actually, was to paying that man at the sushi sandwich store to do it.
Didn't go to me.
Definitely didn't.
No.
And
it's a lot of where Stuart's money went
exactly, which is interesting.
I actually am now just finding out about that.
But you do. I mean, and sometimes sometimes it can be weird. Oh, where did my money go? And I would have spent it differently, or I would have put it towards some of the CGI or some of the different graphics, or maybe even the writing in the script. But it's the end of the day. You just want. I think I speak for Stuart when I say you just wanted a good Minions movie to come out.
Yeah. I mean,
I mostly just wanted a gaff.
Oh shit! My Minion. I just collected all the fruits in Minions game.
You rock at this game, Nick. You rock at this
game. Thank you.
You're one of the. I've been talking to ESPN, and they're thinking of kind of broadcasting the grand finals of the next weekend Minion Bowl, and we haven't figured out exactly who we want on the team, but I'm looking maybe at a front runner here.
Well, it's almost midnight. Midnight. So I've got to get ready for my my big show. I have my Minion costume already on. I'm gonna watch the movie start to finish. I'm not gonna stop at all. And I just want to say thank you, Ben. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Sandra Bullock. Thank you, Nick. And thank you, Stu and Gru.
Thanks to Stu and Gru too. And Stu.
exactly. And
No, thank you.
Please check out minionme.com. You're not going to regret it. Buy as much as you can. I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars you spend. Just buy it. Buy it for your uncle. Buy it for your little boy. I'll see you around the.
Goodbye. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the deal we made with your next album. I'm excited to hear it.
It'll be great to do a special all Minions sounding album to listen to. Real quick, I wanted to ask to you, Ben. There's actually a Minion named Stuart in Minions, and
I'm glad you caught that.
And what was it like, Stuart, to have a minion to get minionized for the movie?
It was very strange. They put me in a very small tube
And
for
that
a long time.
and that differs in a lot of ways from the traditional method of the motion capture.
Yes.
The motion capture, that the way that they do it normally with the different balls. But of course, the minions are too short to be sized like a regular man and a regular sized human. So you had to do a short.
The same thing just doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So you developed, Ben, if I remember right, a special technique to take a regular sized 5, 6, 7 foot tall man and smush him down into just a shrinkment of a little tube, and then he can be the size of a minion and just behave and act the way the minion was, and you do the arms and the legs in post. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, there's actually 2 tubes.
And there's a subtler point that you're missing, and that is that since you get taller, actually, from being squished into the smaller tube, you have to bend your body over completely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they put you in the first tube. They fill it up with the yellow. It's a secret ingredient, but it's how we get the minions yellow. And we squish the tube, get them real tall. And so you just got a real tall, skinny man, about as wide as a minion, but very, very tall.
Very too long to be a minion, and it would actually be even.
Clearly not. It would take away from the reality of the
It would, and it would actually. You could put that long man in a motion capture ball suit all day. It would look nothing like the minions, except for there is one skinnier minion, but he's not quite the same shape as this very smush.
No, his tube got messed up. That was the last one we made.
New York Post Kyle Smith says, by far the highlight of Minions is hearing the Beatles' "Got to Get You Into My Life" over the closing credits. The first time I've ever heard it used in a movie. Otherwise, this prequel is like trying to form a rock band out of 3 Ringo. But tell me about the Beatles component.
Oh, 3 Ringos, I mean, he's obviously the greatest drummer of all time, so if you had a band with 3 of them, it'd just be so good.
Like a movie with all Minions, right? No berries.
Yeah.
I mean, no Captain
Oops,
Crunch.
All crunch, oops, all berries.
No Gru.
What the best is. And Minionize Me, Captain, is another thing we could say on the box. We're working with the Crunch on an
I like that
endorsement
cereal.
deal.
I like that cereal too.
It's good.
And that's interesting to take a look. I'm going to go back to the game. We're getting some feedback that we don't like some of the stuff that I had open. I was trying to get tickets from Fandango. The app kicked me out and said, "Do you want to buy tickets?" I said yes, and then I wound up looking up some reviews. And let's go back to the game. Minions Despicable Me Minion Rush with no Gru.
No
Oh.
Polonius.
No Gru. And Stu, you were talking about the mocap. Was it worth it after it hurt your body so bad? And was it a challenge when you couldn't go back to your normal life being a regular shaped and sized man?
Well, I definitely knew as I was getting into the device that my life would be worse after than it was before. And I went through with it because in the end it was entirely worth it.
If you think about how many different people even like Minions, what's one man's life in exchange for the smiles on all?
I've become immortalized.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's like you died, and in a lot of ways it'd be better if you died. But in some smaller other ways, if you think about it,
It's like most of my life went into that part.
Yeah,
that.
and they say that they pride themselves on Minions and all of Pixar movies takes blood, sweat, and tears. And for you, it was mostly just blood. Is that right?
No.
No,
It was a lot of the other two things as well.
just sweat and tear. It was all three.
Pretty much evenly distributed.
One thing I wanted to ask about is some of the different Pixar cameos we can expect to see in Minions major motion picture. For example, you've got Ratatouille, you've got Wall-E, you've got Shark Tale, Toy Story, Tommy, what's his name? The cowboy from
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
Himself.
Woody from Tim Story, and
Puss in Boots is there.
Puss in Boots makes a quick cameo as the cab driver at the very beginning, and then again at the end of the movie.
There's Tim Allen as Santa Claus. Santa Claus?
Were you disappointed that you were able to get all of those actors back to reprise these bit roles, but Steve Carell wanted nothing to do with the project?
Me and Steve, we talked, right? Obviously, it's Hollywood. You're not going to make enemies because who knows, down the line, Minions 2, Minions 3, Minions 4, he might be in some of those. We really haven't ironed out everything yet, but I have to respect his opinion. I don't agree with it, but I have to respect his opinion, and I think it was really dumb of him to not take the offer because we were going to pay him at least $100.
And Stuart,
the office has been off the air for at least a year, so he's out of money by now. I don't know what he's thinking.
I don't know, not sure that I get it either. And to Stuart, did you ever get to work with Steve Carell, and what was that like?
Yes, it was. It was very unpleasant. He was very mean to me specifically.
And that's interesting.
Very nice to everyone else.
He does have a reputation as being one of the easiest celebrities to work with, but there was something about you, I guess, that rubbed him the wrong way. And let's dive into that, why don't we?
Well, there were a lot of things about me that he didn't like.
Well, just name three.
It's mainly that I'm extremely racist.
Against Minions?
Against Minions.
No, I feel like maybe I'm confused because I know he didn't want to be in the movie, but he has a lot of affection for Minions, and he really likes to.
He was proud of what he had done in the first
in
movie.
the first movie.
I told him to his face that I thought that Minions weren't as good as people, and shouldn't get the same kind of rights,
I was taken aback by that too, honestly.
Especially since you had given up so much of your time, your money, and your body to be a part of this very, very, let's just call it what it is, a very Minions-focused movie.
Yeah, but I thought the whole point of the movie was that they were worse than people.
They do make a lot of mistakes.
More mistakes than people do, on average.
That's bullshit. You know it. I saw you mess up the craft service that one time when you went to go grab a bagel and you knocked the other bagel off the tray.
He did, but if you think about it, that wound up being in the trailer for Minions when Bob knocks over the craft services tray and he says oogie boogie and the bagels land over his eyes and it looks like he's got two bagels for his face.
I was practicing the scene.
Probably should have made it Stuart the Minion who did that.
Mm-hmm.
Only one jumps to get the next fruit. Well, I'm out of tokens. And last but not least, do you think there's ever going to be a Minions movie or a book?
I mean, aside from the novel, based on it, then yes.
It's the novel it's based on, or based on it.
Which a lot of people don't probably know. Stewart wrote that novel, but received no royalties for the movie.
No.
And that was a controversial.
It was a long time ago. I mean, I did. It's fine.
We all did stuff in college we aren't proud of.
We aren't getting paid for. Like the movie, like writing the book Minions, which is, interestingly to me, as a fan of the novelization of Minions, It is almost, it's practically a screenplay for the movie that we're seeing in theaters tonight. Was it challenging for you, Stuart, creatively, to realize over the course of the production that it was more or less the work you had done back in the early to mid 2000s on the book The Minions?
I essentially considered it. It was a remix, and it did better than my original version, and that's fine. I hold no ill will.
Just to be clear, do you wish that they paid you for the work that you did when you made Minions and created the character of Minions?
Sure, everybody wants more money, but
Right.
you know,
Sometimes it's not about that.
it's not. Sometimes it's not in the cards.
And do you think you would come back for another Minions project? I mean, your body's all fucked up already, so that's half the work there is already done.
To be honest, I don't think they would want me.
Well, they did. Part of that, I think, is that Steve is going to be at the helm directing Minions 2. We recently learned from TMZ and from also Hotwire.com.
Also, I'm all messed
Bullshit.
up.
He's directing, but he will not appear in it with the voice wise. You say you're messed up.
I'm messed up, so I couldn't perform my duties as a gaffer. Anyway.
What about if you're one of the minions in the movie? Because an interesting thing, you did not play Stewart in Minions. You actually were just as a part of. They needed a gaffer. They needed someone to test out the mocap machine. They tried it and they saw what it did to your body. They said no can do, and they went with a more traditional tracking based system for the VR.
They added the ability to scale down the models that they were capturing, and that essentially solved the problem.
I think that makes a lot of sense in terms of I think you'll be able to get a better cast of characters to play the minions, knowing that it won't hurt them and it won't fuck them all up and make them look all fucked up and bad.
You're right. That did come up. That did make a lot of sense.
But I'm just happy to have been a part of the process, the scientific process.
Yeah, I think we all learned a lot from the production of Minions, and I know, and this was reported, and I think it would be weird if we didn't talk about it. Stuart, after the whole incident with what happened to your skeleton and some of your different muscles and your skin from the machine, you somewhat controversially were not allowed to appear at the premiere for Minions because there were some young children there and they did not want them to see you and how you look now. And was that...
Well, I do look horrific, and there's not much that can be done about that. So, I
We didn't want him
understand.
spouting any of his racist, bold.
his anti-Minion rhetoric.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I probably wouldn't be able to help myself.
It says you would be
How I honestly
experiencing...
feel
You
about
helped
Minions.
yourself to those bagels.
I would do that.
Let's not make it about what happened in the past. Let's talk about the future with Minions 3, which we also happen to know is coming out. But it's not going to be a Blu-ray release. It's just regular DVD. Why did you choose that for your movie?
Well, DVDs are like the past because they're fragile.
It's
They're
nostalgic.
easy to forget. And we're actually, a lot of kids these days are into the 90s. And you know what was huge in the 90s?
Minion movie DVDs.
DVDs, that's right. All the kids had their favorite DVD player. And this way they can still do that.
Also, they're shaped like circles, and that's important.
Because so are Minions.
And Minions are yellow, not blue. It'd be silly if there was a yellow ray, we'd sure. But
That sounds even more fucked up somehow than an original Minion.
Did you ever consider having a special shaped DVD for Minions?
we exclusively plan on it, actually.
And it's a kind of a bold move as far as Hollywood is concerned, because you're going to need to get a special Minions 3 DVD player.
Yeah, and we haven't made that yet, and we don't have any plans for it yet. Just the idea.
Just the idea. You could get Sony, or you could get a different person to make them, to do them. Well, I think that's gonna do it for our minions.
It's been great to talk to one of you.
And I'm glad that you were able to set your side of differences in order to talk about Minions with me today. It's great. We're all looking forward to the movie. Everyone, remember to go to Fandango to reserve your Minions tickets. Log in and you can get a special discount coupon code Minion. What is the coupon code, Stuart?
I don't know.
You were supposed to be in charge of that. When I sent you the email this morning, I said make sure you.
Yeah, and I looked at it and I was like, I can remember that.
You could have told me, because the subject line of the email was fucking remember the Minions coupon code, and you didn't even try to do that.
I did try to do that. I looked at it and I said that I can remember that series of.
And then you didn't. Maybe it's because
I almost did.
Said I can be not racist towards that. We saw how that worked out.
It didn't work out great. It did it, and maybe it's because your brain got fucked up by the machine that you tried out for Minions. Maybe that's why you're.
I didn't know about that part.
That's probably what happened, though, in hindsight, isn't it? And real quick before we go, let's take some questions from some of the different Minion heads at home.
Love my fans.
Yeah, and they probably don't know who the fuck Stuart is, because who cares? But they do want. They probably can come up with some questions for him too.
Ask me everything.
Hold on, I'm gonna go to the Jelly Lab. Banana vacuum.
Banana.
What's that mean?
No, it's just from Minions.
From what?
From Minions.
It sounds like you're saying from Minions.
Yeah, no, the movie Minions. The movie Minions.
A movie.
Yeah. The
Despicable Me.
It takes place before Despicable Me 1 and before Despicable Me 2, but and before Minions 2 and before Minions 3. It's the first.
Oh, you're saying the Minions.
No, we're saying Minions. Ben can back me up on this. Ben remembers Minions.
I remember them just like it was yesterday because it's out.
But this is the movie we're talking about the whole time.
Yeah, Minions.
The Minions.
The Minions. Muppet.
The Minions.
Muppets. Is not
the Nuppets.
No, the Minions from. Minions is part of Muppets books and movies.
The Muppets Extended Universe.
Yes.
Merman.
Do you guys remember Gru from Minions? Oh, I forgot to take questions. I'll keep my eyes peeled, and we'll get some good questions. And remember, tell me if this is right, Ben. All questions have to be about Gru from Minions.
Yes. Felonious.
We're gonna say Gru, because no one knows what the fuck you're saying.
Yeah,
I gotta increase my despicable multiplier.
I'll compromise. I'll call him G-Man.
Alright. G-Man. So anyone who has any questions about Gru... here we go. Pixelon says, is Gru a Gru? Like, is Gru a type of creature like Minions?
Oh, that's the fucking stupidest question I've ever heard. He's a human.
He's a human. Got it. Check that off the list.
I actually
definitely
would disagree with that.
Of course you would. Are you racist against Grus too?
Yes, actually. So that's how I know that it's a different type of species.
I think it would be fun if you did a website called GruTube, only do Minions videos on it. Was that a discussion that came up in the sort of the pre-production and post-production process of Minions?
Well, we're gonna call it Felonious Tube because we can't use the G-Man's name because Steve Carell is very litigious. I did pitch that to him. Rainn Wilson of the Office launched his video thing, Soul Pancake. Kevin had his movie website, so I walked up to Steve Carell and I said, "You got to get in on this. Ex-Office people doing the YouTubes are a big thing right now." And I said, "You can even call it GruTube." And he said, "I'll come in for your movie."
Tesla wants to know, do the Minions have a... Is there religion in the Minions franchise?
Oh, Stu knows the answer to that one.
Heathenism?
Hedonism.
Yes.
Heathenism.
Heathenism.
Yeah. They worship some pagan god spirits.
That is
That's
very...
all I know.
Now that's controversial. Why did you choose to do something fucked up and weird like that instead of just doing a regular movie that doesn't touch issues like religion and like a regular children's movie would probably do?
Well, I'm a man of the times right now, and the church is under attack, so I figured, have the people be able to rally against the common enemy, the Minions, and then maybe that way we can get the church back into the state.
See, that's what I'm trying to say. The Minions are supposed to be the enemies.
Yeah, but you can't say that. You only have to think it.
I don't get it.
Do you think a lot of people... some pictures came out last week of former President George W. Bush wearing a Minions slacks, but a regular shirt. And did you was that planned? Was it a marketing stunt, a gimmick, or does George W. Bush is he a Minions man? Does he like Minions?
Well, I don't want to spoil the end of the movie, but I'm going to. George W. Bush is in it, and
I'll be right back.
He says something in the Minion language. He goes, and if you actually translate that, it reveals some of the darkest war crimes he ever committed.
That's some dedication. I
know,
think he's certainly a Minion's head.
Yeah, he's obviously a big fan, or else he wouldn't have agreed to be in the movie and also
And requested to do
go
that.
to jail for the rest of his life. He requested to do that. We were like, well, he's like, I think it'll really, because his reasoning was he wants the movie to succeed, so he's obviously gonna do whatever he can to give it that.
Didn't it
boost.
almost get cut?
Yeah, we almost.
You were gonna cut it, but then he said that you can't do that. That don't do that.
He said, if you cut that, I'll cut you, motherfucker.
I heard that actually. I heard a rumor that he said that.
Can we talk about Minions?
Is that a theoretical question?
Catch me up?
Can we really talk about Minions? What do we really even know about Minions?
Nick, you showed off the two Minion games I made and talked about what are you really looking forward to in Minions, and what would you like to see in Minions the next one? Minions : the next one.
I think I would definitely like to see, this is a no-brainer, but I would definitely like to see more Minions in it. One of my main problems, and you have to forgive me, I'm going into reviewer mode a little bit, is that there wasn't enough Minions. And if you're going to put Despicable Me, you're going to put Minions on the fucking boxes, should have some Minions in it. And I would also say more features, and make it so I can download it on the go. Because I have a very small phone, and I can only hold one app at a time, and it's very tiring to have to delete Minions game and re-download phone and re-download text messaging and go back to my phone and install Minions every time I want to play Minions and every time I want to use my phone. So make it easier for me to get logged in and to download it, and don't make it so I have to log in every time, because it's a lot of work and it really makes me tired and it really makes me mad and it makes me want to not see Minions and not enjoy it as much. But that's what I would like to see. What about you, Stuart?
I think that sounds pretty reasonable, actually. I think that they need to fix that.
Ben, what do you want to see in the new Minions?
Ben?
Do we have Ben? Did we lose?
Oh. He just disappeared.
Well, thank you very much to Stuart for sticking around.
Thank you.
Hey.
Doing air quotes.
Well, are you all right, Ben? Because we should clear the air now. If you
I just have one last thing to say to Stu, and that is, if you want to come back for Minions 2, we would gladly take you, but you have to just say, I love the Minions, I am a Minion, and I love myself.
I would say anything to
Yes.
get what I want.
it's a band.
Because we're also casting for Say Anything too.
Ooh.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
it,
And a big
and
thanks
thanks that you did that.
and a big thanks to both of you. Would love to have everyone come in and talk about Minions. And it's been a long journey to get here. It's been a lot of hard work. I know Stuart's fucked all his body's bad now and he can't really do anything. And I know Ben's just so he's probably pretty tired too. But it's
Gotta go to bed.
he's probably sleepy from doing the whole press tour and doing Minion interview and TV show, local movies, TV, and the news. So it's been a real.
I've just been sitting around all day.
Well, you kind of don't have a choice, but it's neither here nor there. And thank you to everyone at home who's a big fan of Gru and of Minions and of Toy Story. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. I can't wait for tomorrow's Minion episode that we're all going to be on again.
Yeah, I should, and that's probably a good segue. This is the new format for here on this, rebranding this channel to be an all Minions channel, all Minions all the time, streaming just Minion games and cinema movies. We're working out a deal so that we can do the Twitch music things. We're going to do a Minions themed DJ set. And yeah, it's going to be a exciting. Remember to subscribe to unlock your very own Minion character that you can have. He'll tap dance along the screen, and it'll play the whole theme song to Minions over my channel. And I do want to say, don't subscribe too often. The way I've got it set up right now is a little bit messed up and is very loud, and you can't hear anything I'm saying for 3.5 to 4 minutes. So try to do that when I'm not broadcasting, because it really ruins the show and it blasts my eardrums out. You can see I got it in my ear. But I do want to say a big thanks to everyone who wants to subscribe for Minions and to subscribe for
Hashtag sub for Minions.
sub for Minions.
Get it trending.
And as always, we're gonna pick a winner for our Instagram contest. Who's the number one Minion? Stuart, will you do that drawing for us, please? I know you have limited sort of mobility, and your arms and your bones are still healing from the machine. They probably
I have an active imagination.
they'll probably never heal. Let's be honest. But tell me about.
And I have voice controls for MS Paint, so.
So who's gonna win the giveaway?
I don't even know, you know?
I'm pleased to announce the winner of the giveaway is
Hope it's me.
Gru. Just kidding. It's Tesla82. Big shouts out. Thanks for loving Minions. That's me giving him a big kiss for loving Minions. And I'll see you guys. Have a nice time. Remember to go see the crew, or the Minions. Go see the Minions in major motion picture theaters nationwide. Rolling out as soon as this holiday, if not sooner.
Before it's too late.
And remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Gru on YouTube at youtube.com/Minions, and we'll see you the next time. Goodbye.
Bye.